Hello, everyone. Our next lecture is about Linux, and here we have our guest. Please welcome Ignifugo.
Thanks. I'm here to tell a story, less or more the story of my two nodes and how I joined the wireless community network Linux. First slide. Okay. Works. Okay. Yeah, who I am a front-end developer. I come from Italy. I'm involved in the Italian community that it's called Hack Meeting. It's a really nice and old community of hackers, not only in Italy but in some place of the world. And just for say that I'm less or more a newbie about wireless network. And yeah, I help a lot of projects in the hacking community, and one of these is a project about farmers that self-manage their life, they're hacking their life with the goals of the food sovereignty, the goals of sell direct food, vegetables, and these things to people. And so for this, they was born 14 years ago in Bologna. And there is a strong community all over the Italy about farmers that want to sell directly the food and derivative of food to the people. And the community of Bologna is the biggest with 100 farms. And in the valley where I live, there are 40 of these farmers. Yeah, the valley where I live, because after 6 years that I help this community, I decide I help with technicians things, so back up the website, help in the communication, install web tools that they need, these things. And so after a lot of years, I decided to come in the countryside. Here you can see Bologna. I don't know if someone of you know where is Bologna in Italy. If these legs is Italy. Bologna is less or more here. Here. And so in the slide, in the map, you can see Bologna, and you can see behind a small green point that it's where I live. I live 50 kilometers from Bologna, and in this map you can see also the Linux node that are in Bologna and mine two nodes. Yeah. So this photograph is to explain a bit how is the life in the countryside. Valley, green, good environment. And so what's happened? I heard a lot of time speaking about Linux and wireless network. And so when I went live to the countryside, I discovered these things that you spend a lot of time telephone to all of your friends and telephone because you need to coordinate with the city. And so you waste more money in your telephone, and your internet connection is really, really slow. When I arrived there was only a connection of 800 kilobytes by wired by Telecom Italia. And when raining, not work. And this is because normal ISP, Internet Service Provider, are not really interesting in you that live in the countryside and are isolated farms that it's most the cost to wire you and make manutention that wired you. Yeah, they wired some years ago, but not make more manutention. And yeah, the communication begin more important for you because you are outside from the city and you need to coordinate with the other and also feel better with the other. And you spend a lot of time to coordinate the car sharing and how to move going to the city, because it's better if you move only a car and not a lot. And so, what I'm thinking? I'm thinking that building another net it's a good idea. And I go again to say that to the Linux, oh, but what was that project that about mesh network? And yeah, and so I discovered and unlearned in these past 4 months how to build a new network and a grassroots network by ourselves, by yourself. Linux was born in 2002. Was born in 2002 and grew quickly, but the active nodes grow quickly in the first years of the 2000, and after a bit stopped their growth, but are still growing the number of potential nodes. You can see in the map that there are more than 2,000 potential nodes and only 300 active link. This means, for me, in my opinion, I think that this means that we are a community too much nerd, and we need to explain better to the people, and also not say, oh, this game is mine, yeah, I will go to help you, but no, we need that people became independent. Why do this? Why build a different net? I explained my personal motivation. This is the more global motivation. One is that the performance is really good. The activism, it's important also for activism because it's means a decentralized network, and you can have more privacy and runs service open. It's more resilient. That means that in case of catastrophic events, you can manage your net and rebuild quickly, also because it's a mesh. And it's also, again, digital divide. One digital divide means that, for example, ISP don't want to give the internet to me because I'm not a good client that not pay the right money. And there are more why. It's more modular and flexible. It's a really good way to share competence and knowledge in this geek and nerd topic. Yes, you push out the commercial way of share internet, that internet and the net, I think that is a common thing, something that it's of the people and not of the internet service provider. And so you put more community in your network. And yeah, it's a nice do-it-yourself game. And also for the parallels that you say to you about this farmer that I'm involved in Campi Aperti, the project that I speak you before, and there is a parallels between the food sovereignty and the touch sovereignty, and so the touch independence from the commercial provider. And not exist only Linux. We are lucky. In the 2002 was written also the Pico Peering Agreement, that is an international agreement between the mesh network. There are three fundamental law, because the other two laws say that. Okay, don't broke the other three laws, and you are also, yeah, and you for first are a local community, and so you have to manage your rules of manage. And so the law of Pico Peering Agreement are that the free transit of the packets. The open communication, so use open protocols, and yeah, no warranty as in all the open source software, or for example, in all the distro GNU Linux runs without warranty. I told you that I started this project. I built my 2 nodes, and which service I find in Linux? Nothing, because the goal of Linux, the aim of Linux is in Italy, is build the infrastructure. Is not give or manage the service that you find inside. The service the service are matters of the users. But and so in practice way, which service I find in Linux? A lot. You can find cloud, file sharing, archives, backup, video games online, platform for swap things, vegetables or car sharing, a local platform of crypto value, and yeah, you can read alone a lot. VoIP calls that I think with asterisk will be the next service that I will put in my 2 nodes. And this, for example, in my 2 nodes, we share internet, we share ADSL connection, but also we use RetroShare, that is a software for not it's a P2P software, but in reality is a friend-to-friend software. So you have encrypted communication, and inside the RetroShare you can exchange a file, have email, have a forum, chat, mailing list, and channels, and a lot of things. It's quite old, but works well. So there is the internet connection inside of this net or not? No. We can find in the Linux website written really big that this is not the way for get free connection to internet. You can get connection only if someone wants share connection to the big internet with you, and this is my case. And so only if someone want share with you the ADSL, or if you organize a group that buy good bandwidth from a provider, or if some nodes of Linux became ISP themselves, and this, for example, happened in Rome, and there are nodes of Rome that are internet service provider, but neutral access point. But not all the nodes of Linux are connected are connected between. For example, my two nodes are an island, and also other city are islands. Yeah, these are the common question that people do in the talk, during the talk normally, but this is legal in Italy, yes, from the 2012, yeah, when the other guys started was illegal, but now it's possible. And but the other question is, play with antennas. Play with antennas could be dangerous, and yeah, I'm not an expertise on this, but I can say you that cell phones use more powerful and are really more near to us. Also, in the countryside, the cell of the phones are really more powerful. As speaking in electromagnetic about electromagnetic waves. Okay, let's go to see how to do an easy tutorial with a lot of photographs. Only 1 minute. So I joined the Linux community, and what give to me Linux? Linux give to me a lot of knowledge. You can find Linux group in a lot of A club in Italy. The A club are less or more 15, 12 maybe, but in Italy, in every big city. And they make a talk inside the A club. You can find them in a meeting that is our annual event. We have a meeting every year in a different city of Italy, and in the international level you can find Linux also in the battle mesh. Last was in Vienna, before in Athens, and this. So it's really good for sharing knowledge and learn. And in the other side, you can meet real people that help you go to the roof and put the antenna. This is a photo from the Pisa community, Pisa Linux community. Okay, let's start. Something about the hardware. What do we do? Basically, we use wireless bridge on a free frequency, and so you need to put an antenna on your roof, and after choose how manage your net inside your house. So you can decide to put a router, a wireless router, or you can decide to put a switch and wire all your PC in your house. This means have a router, have an antenna, and a PC where testing the things. Yes, twice. If you want to put 2 nodes, you need every node. You need less or more these 3 things. So first things is decide your friend and or decide the house that you want to connect. This is a photograph from my roof, and you can see a small red point that is the house of my friend. That yeah, I told you that I have a really bad connection, a bad internet connection of 800 kilobits, and the red point has a connection of 30 megabits of internet, and so that was my target. Yes, this is a zoom of the photograph before. There is an house. And this is the photographs from the other side. So on the roof of this, my friend, you can see my house. I'm really lucky because the house of this my friend was the ancient castle of the valley where I live, and so it's in a good position. This is the zoom. Yeah, it's a bit more difficult in the countryside. Yeah, there are a balance. It's more difficult in the countryside because you have a long distance and you can see not the other antenna, you can see the other house. And normally in the city you can see the other house and the other antenna, but you have more pollution, more things that make problem. Okay, the second check is see if it's possible go on the roof, and this is my house, and it's possible and easy go in the roof. Yeah, this photograph I take after put the connection, so it's full of cable. And this is the roof of the castle inside. Oh, this is an interesting thing. You can see on the left, yeah, the photograph by Google Maps of the 2 points, that the distance between the 2 points is 5 kilometers, but go from one point to the other by car are 11 kilometers. There is a river in the middle. On the right, you can see a web tool from AirMax that show you in the top corner on the right the altitude, I don't know the name, the profile of the mountains. In the middle, it's really really low because there is the river. And in that web tool, you can set the power of your antenna. So it's really good to choose the antenna. I decide at least to both 2 antenna that works at 16 dB as a power of the signal, and at the frequency of the 5 gigahertz. And in this tool you can set the point on the map, the frequency, the technologies that is AirMax, and the dB of the antenna. And this tool calculates for you the Fresnel zone. The Fresnel zone is something that you have to see, because you don't need not only that you can see the place, because yeah, you need to see the place, but it's not a laser connection. It's something that enlarged and became thin only near the antenna. And so this tool say to me that that I have two things, that in the middle I need 9 meters of I need also 9 meters empty from obstacles in the middle. And it's good by my profile that permit this, because go down and there is the river. Okay, see these things. I put an antenna in the roof of my friend. I testing in my garden of vegetables, and works. So I fixed the antenna, I put better the antenna. The first antenna at least is this, that it's not really good aligned. The second antenna is this, yes, with photographs on the roof. I set the network inside my house with a wireless router. I set the network inside the house of my friend, and also there you can see a power net, that is something really useful in this case, because you connect the roof and the floor downstairs really quickly. And go to the roof again. If you do this, you know that you have to go to the roof a lot of time. And I set better my antenna with something that permit to be really good aligned with the other. Ah, yes, and never forget the friends. Because when you go to the roof, it's important to be with other people for a lot of things, because make a selfie on the roof is not really easy, because you forget always some things down, because also sharing the knowledge and so on, it's really important. Let's go to see, yeah, we spoke a bit about the hardware. Let's go to see about the software. The software inside our router are completely operative system. And so I choose to use a distro GNU Linux also for my router, and I choose to use OpenVRT. Now it's called LEDE. But the project are joined. So it's OpenVRT LEDE. VRT was the name of all the router when this project started to do that they make the software, but the hardware is proprietary. Inside the hardware is proprietary. Also, when you buy, the software is proprietary. And so when they begin to write OpenVRT, they make retro-engineering about the hardware that was VRT. It's a name of only a router. And so LEDE put a name more bigger on the project. And OpenVRT you can use on a lot of hardwares, less or more 40 different types, different kinds of hardwares. And it's easy, because when you buy the router, inside you find the proprietary hardware. All the times the proprietary hardware are a tool, a graphic tool to update the firmware. And so you use the graphic tool saying, update the firmware, but in true you are changing the operative system, and you put an image of OpenVRT. What's do this firmware? This firmware do the main goal of the firmware is do the routing. The routing means in a mesh network means find the easiest way to connect points. So yeah, you can see by the GIF that if one of the nodes go down, the routing software recalculate the route, and the packets can arrive in when you want. And which softwares manage the routing? A lot. And each Linux island choose who manage the internal routing of his island. And you can connect different islands from the other. And you can use BGP, that it's the normal way for the internet. Is a border gateway protocol to manage different protocol of routing, but you can use also other way. Okay, I took the hardware. Now I know the software, but which configuration I need in this software? We are lucky. We don't need configuration, or In the past, we need the configuration because every island have own configuration. But some time ago started the project LibreMesh. LibreMesh put together some communities of Linux Italia, Guifinet from Catalonia, and Altermesh from Argentina. And give you a lot of tools to set easily the configuration. Yeah, you can see that in Italy exists a lot of different firmware that was forked from OpenVRT. And few developers. And for this, that we decided to build LibreMesh in a collaborative way. And so the first things to do is give the possibility to the other community to not have to change again all the configuration, but build the firmware in a modular way. And so you can manage the different, but be together. So what kind of software and what kind of protocol use LibreMesh? LibreMesh in layer 2 use Batman. You know that like the internet structure, we have 5 levels from the physical level to the HTTP. In the middle, in internet, we have MAC address, MAC level, TCP/IP, DHCP, and HTTP, 5 level. Here in our mesh network, we have at the second level Batman ADV, and that manage the domain broadcast. And in the second layer, we have BMX6 that support IPv4 and public IPv6. And we use to join the group together. And these two protocols works well, also growing. And how to get it, how to get LibreMesh, you can visit the website that is libremesh.org, and you can get LibreMesh by source code, and so compile you manually, or get the firmware precompiled server-side. This means that you use a tool, a graphic tool from the website, you made an account, you set the configuration. The only configuration that you need is the name of your network. You can add more configuration, but the only that it's really mandatory is the new name of your network. And LibreMesh, and you wait 5 minutes, and LibreMesh server-side compile 40 different OpenVRT firmware with your configuration, and give you. So it's really good because because you start maybe with 2 antenna, after you change, and you have the firmware also for that antenna, for the different new antenna that you will buy. You have to flash in the antenna. I told you that it's easy, you use a graphic interface. And you have the OpenVRT HTML interface, so you can monitoring your antenna and see if the link works or not. And it's done. This is the last slide to show you that this project is possible. Yeah, this project sounds like but you are trying to build another internet. Yes, we are trying to do this. And we think that it's possible. This is a map of Italy with all the potential nodes. And this is a map of Freifunk in Berlin that are more than 300 nodes only in that city. This is a map of Athens with thousands of nodes. And this is the map of Guifinet in Catalonia with more than 30,000 nodes. And I found also near you that in Slovenia there is a good community that is VLAN S, that is not so far. And so that's all.
How do you protect your network against some viruses or some intrusions?
Okay, this is the infrastructure, and we are building internet, not the web, and so depends from the service that you use.
Okay, but is it possible that somebody joined the network and have some hard feelings and want to do some harm, network?
Depends which kind of service and how you cipher the data inside the packet, I think. But
Hello, and does any of the islands have some? Does any of the island have some special administrator that is looking after the network, or at least that part of the network which is connected between the nodes? For example, if you have multiple islands, do you have multiple administrator for the separate islands?
Every people is responsible for whole node. Yeah, and so we haven't the administration of the island. We have a lot of administration of the whole node, and there are some islands that are joined by VPN connection, but this is not a standard solution because it's using the other infrastructure. This.
It is basically intended to be each node, each administrator, so to say.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, seeing that you're using BGP for connecting the islands, how are you organizing the IP addresses and the AS numbers for that? Do you have some wiki or some software?
You can find that Batman give the local IP that are IPv4, and BMX6 give you public IPv6.
Yes, but you have an island, and that
Yeah.
island needs some BGP AS number and a certain prefix for IP addresses to serve from. How do you work with that? How do you organize that? That no collisions are and that the BGP sessions work properly?
I think that at least we not use BPG to connect the island, but we use BMX6 to connect the island. Yeah, was the BPG was the old way that we resolved the problem, and after we changed. Thank you.